Hello, everyone. Welcome. We have the show has a name now. Truth hunting. Yeah, baby. We're going big time. All right. Well, I'm Chris, and James and Matt are here with me, and we're going to talk about a few different things. We're going to talk about the financial markets. We're going to talk a little bit about Ukraine, and then a couple other cool things. Everything can't be politics and money driven, right? You got to talk about going in your front yard and trying to dig a 3 foot by 3 foot hole into absolute rock. My God, my shoulders. Oh. All right, James, you want to get us started with the financial markets?
Sure. The Fed raised 20.25 basis points.
Is it 0.25 basis points?
0.25.
Got it.
And the market jumped. Everything jumped. And the reason, except, gold, I think gold went down. But it was funny because what they did is they said, okay, here's 0.25. We're going to fight, 15% inflation or whatever the heck it is. Who knows what the real number is?
Right.
Because they lie. But so we're going to fight this with a 0.25 interest rate hike. And then they said, we're going to raise rates 6 more times this year. And the market called bullshit on that because they said, yeah, right, you're going to do that. So they know they're faking. It's like they kind of jumped the shark a little bit in terms of talking too aggressively when everybody knows they're full of crap. And they're not going to raise it. They may raise interest rates maybe once, and then they have to back off because the market will tank. So it was just really interesting how everybody called bullshit on it. It's like, yeah, right. We know you're going to do QE later this year after we stop pretending like we're going to raise interest rates and cut QE because the market can't sustain it. So
right. So raising rates. Right now in the current climate would actually be bad for the economy. Is that correct? In general.
Well, I mean, because we're in a box created by the Fed, and they can't raise interest rates too much or really hardly at all, because then it'll raise the cost of our debt, and then we can't afford it. Then we have to more QE. So
QE explain QE real quick.
Quantitative easing is just it's a bunch of Excel fakery.
Oh my
God! Because all the Fed is basically an Excel spreadsheet where they just say, okay, here's another line item, and then they buy bonds. They buy bonds from like Goldman Sachs or whatever, and at a ridiculous rate, and Goldman Sachs makes money, and then we get screwed, and it's a lovely course of events. But quantitative easing is money printing. That's why we have inflation. That's where we're at, because they're printing money. It's not because of corporate greed like the left likes to talk about. It's flat out printing money.
Right. And the printing of money devalues our money. Like, Matt, I'm sure whatever money you have in the bank, I'm sure you're happy that pretty much every year it's worth about, 10, 15% less, right? That's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's super.
And by the way, just to say it out loud, that's why a lot of people are investing in Bitcoin. They're taking some of their money and they're investing in Bitcoin because over the long term, Bitcoin is going to go up. We all know this. And so it's going to hold its value much more in Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, the question is whether Bitcoin is going up or our currency is going down. So which one is it? Is the currency becoming worth less, or is Bitcoin keeping up? Or, that's the question.
Well, you could do it by percentages. Like, I remember a friend years ago on Facebook, I said, oh, Bitcoin's going up. This was a long time ago. And he's like, oh, no, it's not going up. It's just the value of the dollar is going down. And like, Bitcoin went up like a 5X. Right. And I'm like, no, the dollar didn't go down a 5X. Like, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Right, correct.
There's some truth to that. Like, if the dollar becomes worth less, then the Bitcoin, like let's say $100,000 Bitcoin is not really worth $100,000 because of inflation. It might be worth whatever, $80,000. I get that, but
Yeah, it's not devaluing that fast, depending on the rate at which Bitcoin goes up. So, and Bitcoin's track record is pretty good. So
what is the point of why are they raising interest rates? What is the intended outcome from doing that?
To slow down. Good question. To slow down inflation is their goal, or at least the stated goal. Is it going to? No. Back in the 80s when Reagan was president, you had, remember, if we're old enough, or maybe I'm old enough, Paul Volcker raised interest rates to like 18%.
Right.
So you had housing loans at like 20%. It was insane. But inflation, the inflation that had started with the Vietnam War going off the gold standard in 1971, had ramped up, and they got a hold of inflation by just raising interest rates. So people started saving money versus spending it as fast as they could, which is what everybody's doing right now. It's like, okay, let's spend this money before it's worth a lot less. You know, I'm in that mindset. I never imagined I would be in that mindset, but I'm in that mindset. I'm looking at everything that's liquid and going, holy crap, you know, is that keeping up with inflation, or do I need to put it somewhere else?
Yeah, because of course the nightmare scenario is people who've been working for the last 40 years and they have a 401k that's worth, you know, $850,000, and you know, if the market crashes, then maybe it's only worth like $100K. And then how are you going to retire
on that?
It's
inflation is raging the whole time. So this is not going to end anytime soon.
And I think, this is my feeling, I don't know for sure, but I think the people in power running the Fed and the government stuff, I think they do these things to basically drain money from the average people, and so then they have more money and the average people have less. Like, again, I don't know if that's true. That's just what it feels like to me. They're playing all kinds of money games, and in the end, it's the normal average people who are screwed.
100%.
Maybe I'm wrong.
It seems a little strange that I think just the other day, Congress voted itself a 21% raise right now while everyone. So and I read somewhere saying that if you want to know what the real level of inflation is, look at how much they just gave themselves a raise for. So they've jacked their pay up to balance out the new cost of living. While I'm not sure about you guys, but I certainly didn't see a 21 or even 20 or half of that percent increase raise in my income. No. I've as a you know, for lawn care and for you know, roofing repair work, I have certainly increased rates. With our lawn care business, we went across the board about a 10% increase, but that was prior to the cost of gas going as high as it has. So now we're considering the option of adding like a fuel surcharge to you know, each trip, minimizing, making it, you know, a small amount, but still our entire business is fuel based. Fuel to get to the locations, fuel to run the machines to provide the service that they're paying for. So fuel is a commodity that we use nonstop in lawn care, and all folks who do lawn care are all in the same boat. And it's difficult to tell a customer, hey, listen, I need to raise your rates $5, for instance, per cut. That turns a lot of people off, as we're all at the same time struggling with the cost. They have to drive, so they know. So everyone is kind of pinching pennies. Yeah, the people who probably don't have they probably don't pay for their gas or a lot of things. I'm sure they get a lot of free stuff given to them. Our leaders, our people in government, they've just given themselves a 21% raise, in which is just, it's. I don't. What questions me? Not. I've said this many times. It never surprises me that politicians are going to, you know, do what politicians do, and government leaders are going to do what government leaders do. They're going to be corrupt. They're going to be, you know, selfish. They're going to be self-serving. That's never surprising, because that's the nature of the game. That's like saying, "Oh, I'm surprised the lion attacked and ate a guy who was walking out in the Serengeti." It's so strange that would happen. Not at all. So it's not surprising that these cutthroat people are that cutthroat. What's stunning to me is the average person just being so ho hum. Oh, really? They gave himself a big raise with my money? Okay, whatever. I need to watch another TikTok video, I guess, to distract myself.
So, Matt, who do I email to give myself a 21% raise? That's what I want to know.
I'll get back to you.
Or who can I forcibly take money from to get me a raise?
Right.
Well,
That's what they do.
Right.
If you wear a black T-shirt with 3 letters in white that rhyme with a B and an L and an M, you could go do that to any business you like. Walk up and say, "I need reparations now." You'll get it.
Or you can just be a member of government. So,
I talked to a friend today who is in the process of buying their first home, and it reminded me that. So I watched this guy on YouTube. His name is Mitch Ray, and he does technical analysis for crypto charts. Like, it's technical analysis, but he's really good. And he has this, like, I think it's 7 points of basically becoming financially independent. And like, first on the list is like own a home and have it paid off. And obviously the reason is because once you own it and it's paid off, then you always have a place to live. Whereas if you rent an apartment, for instance, what if they double your rent? I mean, this friend I talked to today, they're raising the rent by 30%. That's just now. What if this happens again next year and then the next year? Like, and that with all the gas prices, like normal people are getting killed. So when they told me that they're literally in the process of buying a home, I was like, yes, that's really good. Do you guys agree?
Yes, 100%. Just for the simple fact, luckily for me, I'm in a situation like that. And I figured when I did it, even worst case scenario, if all hell falls apart and I'm completely incapable of maintaining a real type job, all I have to do is work enough to necessarily pay my taxes or pay my, the cost to live here, my taxes and utilities. So no matter what, you can always do that. I know me specifically, I would always be able to do the absolute bare minimum, but I'd have a roof over my head. I wouldn't be homeless. I would be okay. So it was a huge like, okay, no matter what, I'll be all right in that sense. If everything else falls to crap, at least I can go somewhere that's home and, regroup. Not, oh crap, I'm literally, living in a cardboard box. Not only do I sound like on this microphone that I'm a homeless guy living in a cardboard box, I actually am a homeless guy living in a cardboard box. It's nice not to be in that situation.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, we were going to move on to a second topic. What was it? We were going to talk about, the whole Zelensky Ukraine thing. What did Zelensky ask for now? What is he asking the U.S. government to do?
Everything. He's asking for everything. I mean, it's I think we just sent $14 billion.
Yeah.
Could I get an audit on that money? Can I see where that money's going? It's mine. So
Right.
could I see where a spreadsheet, just detail it out for me. I want to see where it goes. Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we're going to send him drones of some kind or something.
There's the dogs. There's the troop of dogs. What did we call it last week, Matt?
It was over 15 or 150, right? 151, then it became chaotic. You can control 150.
Oh, it's like a pack. You have a pack of dogs in the next room.
I do. Yeah. Now, thankfully, they're going upstairs now. So.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay. So, by the way, on Twitter, you mentioned where's our money going how is it being used in the Ukraine? I saw a tweet today that said they caught a Ukrainian diplomat leaving the country, and he had a briefcase with like 80,000 euro, $150,000, a bunch of gold. And it's like, and the person in the tweet asked, is this where our money's going? Like, where is our money going?
I guarantee a portion of it will go that way. Guaranteed.
Oof.
Guaranteed.
Well,
It's going to go in the toilet. I mean, it's guaranteed it's going in the toilet. Just like most money the government spends goes in the toilet. But
Right.
Yeah, I think we're going to send them drones, and it's funny. All these little every day is a new scary headline that they want to scare us and force us into war. Remember those MiG-29s that were going to go that Poland was going to transfer to Ukraine? I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened to that? They went to the MiG-29s. Went to where'd they go? A nearby country. Oh, actually, I think it went to Germany or something.
Yes.
At Ramstein or something.
Yes.
Anyway, so and then the little side note was, oh, we'll fill in the space with F-16s that you're getting rid of those MiG-29s. Well, that's called a gimme to the defense contractors. That's like, hey, buddy, we got you an easy contract here for F-16s, Boeing or whoever that is that makes those. Yeah. So, and then those MiG-29s, you think they're actually going to go to Ukraine? No. They're just going to sit there. That was all just about a gimme to the defense contractors. So, there was that headline, oh, that's going to save them. And, that went nowhere. And now we're going to send them little drones. We send them all kinds of weapons. We're sending them money. And it's just all for naught. It's just stupid. And then you got the neo-Nazi angle going on, but nobody wants to talk about that. So,
right. Have you guys you ever follow on Instagram, Grand Old Memes? It's a hilarious. They're one of some of the best memes you're going to find. One of them they had today. I'll see if you can see it on the screen. It might be hard to see.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's Zelensky talking to Congress, and it's like a game show. It says like final offer. He's asking for a no-fly zone, and we'll receive World War III as a trade-off.
Right.
Yes, there it is. It's hard to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine.
We get the gist.
Yeah.
Grand old memes. They have great hot takes and everything. But that's in essence what you're looking for. He wants a no-fly zone, which basically means it's going to be American jets blowing up Russian jets. Okay. So where does that lead to next? That's a hot war. And what happens? I mean, there's no way to escalate. There's one that only goes one way. It escalates unless you have someone actively working very hard to de-escalate. And you look at what Biden said today. I was listening to who was it that I was listening to? With Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore, pretty aggressive, pretty strong progressive guy, but he's got a really great take on this whole situation going on. It aligns with more like Dr. Steve Turley and the guys from the Duran, Alex, which is against the mainstream narrative. But he was saying that after Biden gave his speech, he once again walked off without taking questions. But one reporter cornered him and said, "What do you think of what do you think of Putin, or what do you think about this?" And he says he's a war criminal. That Putin is a war criminal, which is only going to ratchet things up. It's not calming things down. This is accelerating sort of in one direction. I think last week or so, one of the mainstream newspapers put an article saying a little nuclear war wouldn't be that bad. It would help with climate change. It would help with, right. And it's the stunning thing is the people who write this stuff, either they're volitionally ignorant or just ignorant, yet they're given the tools to share information. There is no such thing as a small nuclear war. Back in the I guess in the 80s or so, 70s and 80s, when the nuclear arms race was heating up, one of the things, maybe it was in the 60s, Dan Carlin has a great podcast about nuclear weapons, and he talks about how one of the concepts that the folks, the thinkers, the group, the think tanks were considering was, let's make smaller tactical nukes. So we don't have to use the big bombs which destroy cities. Let's use small ones that can just maybe knock out a group of soldiers or a military installation. And then they quickly realized that small nukes lead to big nukes. There's no way. Oh, you hit me you took out my convoy. All right, I'm going to take out your base. Or you took out my base, I'm going to take out your small city. You took out my small city, I'm going to take off the east side, the eastern seaboard. It doesn't, you can't, it's if I get in a fight with you, I slap you, you're not just going to slap me back equivalently. You're going to say, oh, that hurt. I'm going to hit you back harder. Then I'm going to retaliate. it's a ridiculous sort of situation, and it's unfortunate that we're spending so much money. We're giving so much money to this unfortunate effort, and I forget the numbers, but over the last since we really got involved, 2014, probably even prior to that. And I'm certainly no expert on this at all, but I listen to a lot of people who certainly seem to be. So much money has been given through NATO, through the West, to Ukraine, yet it's still an exceptionally poor country. Where did all that money go? In the briefcases of the people who are now leaving.
Yeah, it's the most corrupt, or one of the most corrupt countries in that region. Yeah, for sure. So, no.
So when you have these ridiculous TikTok, influencers saying this is a great idea, I think we should support the Ukraine, and we should support the war effort, and we should certainly get behind this support of Ukraine. I think a fair analogy would be to say, all right, let's go to your bank. Let's take out $1,000, 10,000 of your dollars. Let's give it to the local gangster that he's going to go and either do whatever he wants with. We're just going to give it to the local gangbanger. Would you want your money to go that way? They probably protest quite a bit. No, don't give my money to some crazy gangbanger who's going to do awful things with it. They wouldn't want to do that. Yet they're super supportive of that same situation occurring on a much grander scale and a countrywide scale. It's the same concept. We're giving tons of money to folks who aren't using it for legit reasons, and it's your money and it's my money, and that should I keep going back to the strangest thing to me is folks' apathy about this. Just, oh, well, that's the crazy part.
Yeah. I actually looked up today the size of Ukraine, and I didn't know it was this big. You see that on the screen?
Wow.
That's huge.
That's big. That's like Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania, half of Virginia, all of West Virginia, most of Ohio, most of Indiana, and half of Michigan. Man,
if you turn that sideways, it runs the whole East Coast all the way down to North Carolina, pretty much. That's
wow.
Huge.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
It's a huge country with disparate interests. I mean, there's the eastern half that identifies more as Russian, and then the western half that identifies more as Ukrainian. And you've had take it for what it's worth, but I heard a RT News talking about how 14,000 people have been killed in the region that starts with a D, Donetsk or something like that.
Yeah, Donbass.
14,000 people have died because the Ukrainians have been shelling them for years. But
James,
it's been a hot war for years.
They don't count. Those Ukrainians don't count.
I know.
We can't care about those. We got to care about the other ones.
Right. Right. The ones that have the little black sun or whatever the heck it is. And, hey, what's that? Oh, nothing. Hey, he's Girl Scout. Don't pay attention to that. I wonder, somebody said that there's a whole bunch of foreign fighters piling into the Ukrainian side. I wonder, it's just a thought. I wonder if a bunch of those are neo-Nazis, the guys that skinheads, the traditional skinheads here, that all they do is hang around and drink Budweiser and shoot and hate each other and hate everybody else. I wonder if they're going over there, because that would be awesome, because then we could get rid of a lot of them.
Right?
Did I say that?
This is a topic we go on forever about this. There's so much, so many areas to cover. My goodness.
Yeah. So one thing I've noticed on Twitter. So our Twitter handle is @truthhunting. I'll put it in the link below. But anyway, all I do with that account is I just retweet everyone who's just basically bashing the corporate media propaganda and all that garbage. So it's an interesting account to follow. But what I've been seeing a lot is it's just like the media has turned this into like a big virtue signaling thing. It's exactly the same as wearing masks and getting the vaccine. It seems to be the same people who were just shouting at everyone and hating everyone for not getting the vaccine or not wanting to wear a mask. Now they just moved over, and those same people are now, they're praising Ukraine. And if you say anything that's not pro-Ukraine, even if you don't care, even if you don't know much, like me, I don't know much about Russia and Ukraine. Honestly, I don't. I don't really have an opinion. Sorry. I don't know enough. I don't know. But these woke, I guess they're woke, just brainwashed people. That's the new thing, is to go after people if you're not 100% Ukraine. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, they've been, they've been, pick the word, traumatized, programmed, whatever. They're just, all they got to do is just wait for their download. Wait for their download. What am I supposed to be outraged about now? Okay, Ukraine. Everybody that doesn't agree with me is Russian, I guess. I don't know. But it's just amazing the level of sheepishness that's out there now. Just people don't even think for a second. And it's the news is all acting. Anytime you have all the celebrities, anytime you have all the news headlines all kind of corresponding, all saying the same thing, that's when the little antennas should go up and go, okay, something's up here. Yeah. Something's up here. And the headlines are just bombastic, over the top. He's going to use chemical weapons. He's going to nuke us. It's like, okay. Yeah.
Well, from a psychology standpoint, it's relatively genius. The folks who are really pulling the strings, if you think about it, if you look at the escalation, it started with Trump, right? When he gets elected, it's if you supported him, you're just a bad person. And then with COVID, it was, if you question anything, the slightest, you want grandma to die. And so the folks who want to, basically the folks, what it is, I believe, folks who want to be in charge are the ones, they want to control everything, whether it's the WEF or globalists or whatever name you want to give it. Those who want to be able to tell everyone else what to do, they have to try to figure out ways to push their narrative. So with Trump, it really didn't work that well because half the country supported him. And then with COVID, they thought that might be a more appropriate topic in which to garner support. And again, about half the people went for it. So then they moved into, it's really smart to say, all right, well, our tactic 1 failed, tactic 2 failed. What's a better topic we can go with? What's a stronger narrative? A war, right? War. So they have, I would say, it seems like 75-80% of folks are supporting this, are right behind, are gung ho saying, let's all do it. So they were smart to change their directive or their topic or their direction, their aim, if you will, and they picked a topic that they were able to get maybe 80% people now on board with their plan. And again, like you said, everyone is waiting for the download. And it's the crazy thing is a lot of folks who are questioning the whole COVID narrative or and saying don't trust the media and don't trust the people, they've jumped right on board to support this, doing the exact same thing that they were just mocking others for doing with COVID.
Yeah,
they fell into the same trap now with this. So it's genius. They found the right topic to garner so much support. It would seem.
Yeah, scary stuff. I'll tell you what's even more scary is trying to dig a 3x3 hole in your front yard when it's just. I went down about 2 feet and then it just became like rock. I'm not even kidding. It's technically dirt, but like. Literally, even with a pickaxe, like a heavy pickaxe, full swings, I'm not getting much, So I don't know. That's going to be a struggle. But anyway, let's move to talking about a couple of different things. Like for one thing I thought when I'm digging these holes, and by the way, if you're not subscribed to our channel or liking the video, we encourage you to do that. Thank you.
Please.
It would make a big difference to us, so thank you. So anyway, in December, we had 2 pine trees in our front yard get blown down because I'll tell you one thing about Colorado Springs. At times, it gets a little windy because the mountains are literally right there. So 2 pine trees came down. So I literally had to dig out the stumps, and I dig out the stumps. That was hard enough. And my wife was like, all right, we're gonna plant 2 apple trees there. I'm like, great. Last night she shows me a video of the method we're gonna use to plant this apple tree. And it's first thing the guy says is, all right, you need a 3-foot deep, 3-foot round hole. And I'm like, I immediately looked at my wife. I'm like, because she didn't understand what that means. I did, obviously. And I'm like, really? I got to go dig 2 holes like that? Anyway, I'm enjoying it. Guess why I'm enjoying it? Because it's good exercise. Like, I haven't worked this hard physically in a while. And I'm not that old. I'm 49, but still, I'm not a weightlifter like you, Matt. I'm not a big fitness guy. I'm just an average guy. Like, I'm an audio guy. I stay inside in the studio. So anyway, I'm trying to reframe it in my mind to a positive where I'm building muscle and all that. So
How big is a root ball on that tree? 3 feet.
Same question I had.
Super deep, man.
Oh, actually, so the pine trees, they didn't, the trunk that I had to dig out wasn't that big.
Sure.
I don't even know, maybe 2.5 feet round or 2 feet round, something like that. But not huge.
How big is the root ball on the apple tree?
Oh, we didn't get the apple trees yet. We pick them up on Saturday.
Okay, where are you getting them from? I mean,
my wife bought them from one of the local places. I forget which one.
I'm guessing it's probably going to be 4 or 5 feet tall, maybe something like that.
I think so, but the thing is, you dig a 3-foot hole, but then you fill the first foot with a certain type of dirt. Then you put some stones, and then the second foot is more the second foot is like something else, and then you put a big rock on there, and then you plant the tree on top of that. So the big hole is mainly for the dirt.
Yeah, there's a little method. Yeah, that sounds legit, but I don't think you need to go to that much trouble. I mean, there's a great, for what it's worth, on the Colorado State Ag Extension webpage. They have a great article on how to plant a tree and how wide it needs to be, more wide than anything. And you don't want the top roots. The top roots you want above the ground. The top leader roots coming from the tree, you want those above the ground. You don't want those buried. So you don't want it too deep.
Right.
Yeah.
So this Saturday we go to pick up the trees, and there's like an hour-long class too. So now I got to sit through this class, which is actually a good thing. But
let's hope they don't give you a different method for doing this if you put all this work in.
Yeah.
Thing is, I don't know how I can actually dig deeper. Like I really don't.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Our neighbor lent us one of those big. It's like 5 or 6 foot long, but about that thick. A metal rod, like a heavy metal rod. It's like a pry bar almost.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a straight rod, like 6 feet long. Mm-hmm. And one side has a point. The other side has like a little flat, almost like a screwdriver.
Yeah.
So tomorrow I'm going to try that. Maybe I can just literally slam it in and then work it back.
Yeah, the way you use that, you dig it in and you loosen up the soil, and then you use your post hole digger or whatever you have to scoop it out. So it's like a 2-part. Loosen it up with the pry bar,
right,
and then scoop out the debris. And then keep doing that. But you might not have to go that deep. Just maybe make a call to the nursery and say, hey, listen, I'm picking up these trees. How deep should the hole be?
Yeah.
3 feet sounds excessive. But
yeah.
You got all that prep, which may or may not be necessary. I mean, there's perfection and then there's like getting it done.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. So this method of 1 foot of a certain type of dirt, then like 1 foot of, it's not mulch, it's something, and then another. So some woman figured out this method, decades ago, and a lot of people use this method because it really works well. So that's the method we're trying to use. So that's it. That's really why.
I mean, I only go 4 feet deep when I need to hide a body. So 3 feet seems.
That's Jersey.
Yeah, and when you're in the basement too. So, I mean.
Yeah, clearing out the crawl space. Yeah. Yep.
So have you been doing any work outside, James, with your leach field?
Funny you bring that up.
No, of course I knew that in advance.
Yeah,
people.
I know. So, so anyway, this is interesting, at least to me. So, and unfortunately, this is the third house in a row where I've had to deal with the leach field. So I had to replace the last two, and it's like I'm tired of this shit.
By the way, what is a leach field again? Just for
okay.
I know what it is, of course, but I'm just for other people.
So you got a septic. You got a septic where all your poop goes and all your water goes. Okay, and then it's got a pipe at the top of it, and it fills up, and then the effluent goes out into a field where you have a network of perforated pipes, and then it just sinks into the ground. Okay, so deal with mine is that the effluent is starting to come to the surface on the leach field, and it kind of stinks a little bit. So I thought, okay, crap, the leach field is failing. It's about 36 years old, so I got to deal with this. So I had a guy come out yesterday, and he says, oh, this is you need to just get rid of the biomat, and then it'll start going down. So the biomat is just a network that grows over time of biological matter, and it kind of prevents the water from draining. So it's coming to the surface. And what he does is he comes out with a little what do you call it, bobcat type thing, and you have a big pneumatic tank, and it's got a big needle kind of thing that he drives into the ground, and then forces air through it, and it just destroys that biomat, and then it all sinks down to the ground. So it breaks up the soil. It's really cool. So it's going to cost me.
How deep are the pipes or the tubes?
In some places, not very deep. In my leach field, because it's 36 years old and it's on a hill and it's eroded a little bit. So in some places, he was like, he's got a probe, and he poked it, and it was maybe a foot in some places. Not much, but it's, it still works. It still drains. It's okay. And I said, hey man, do I need more dirt? He said, don't worry about it. Just as long as it drains, it's okay. So, as soon as, and it's covered with grass, really thick grass, as you can imagine, it's green. So, So anyway, it's going to come out and do that, and it's going to cost me about 1/10 the price of replacing the leach field. So I am super happy, because I want to put money into a greenhouse, not into my poop. So,
well, that's great news.
Very happy about that.
Sort of.
Yeah, it's called an Earth Buster. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Send him over to my house, man. I need that in my front yard.
He would do it, man. Actually, he showed. I went to his website, and I was watching a picture of this driveway where there was just a puddle collecting, and he just drove this into the soil where the puddle was collecting, and just broke it up and just drained down.
Yeah,
just like that. Pretty cool. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Huh. So
it's like a giant aerator, basically.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, pretty soon, if gas gets so expensive, we might have to each on our own land start doing our own fracking in a similar manner.
Yeah, that's basically what this is. It's kind of like fracking, except fracking for poop in my instance. So, but not the same thing.
Plus, real fracking, they go literally 1,000, 2,000 feet deep, don't they?
Pretty deep. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure how deep.
All right. Well, next week let's get a fracking expert. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Consult the fracking expert.
I mean, we need to do 7 hours of fracking discussion, I believe. I mean, that's what I would prefer anyway.
A fracking marathon.
Yes. People be like, what the? Oh God. All right. So we're, by the way, if you've made it this far into this episode, congratulations. But also, this is our second episode. We're still figuring out what we're doing and what topics to talk about and all that. I mean, we have so much. The problem is not. The problem is choosing topics. We have a million that we could talk about. So we're kind of figuring our way and having some fun along the way. And yeah. I mean, I have a list of smaller things, but anyway, what else should we talk about, guys? Or you think we're ready to pack it?
What's on the agenda? What do you got?
Oh, I mean, I read you the list before we started of just all the little stuff.
Well, I'll tell you a fun story.
Okay.
If you want.
Go.
Yesterday, I received my, I got a solar generator. It came in the mail. So I finally got it home and set up. So I am ready to go if I lose power. I can run my freezers to keep everything going. I can cook a little electric hot plate. So I'm pretty excited to have this guy here now, and gonna test it out and see how it runs. Pretty cool.
So wait, though, how big of a surface area of panels do you have to run that stuff?
So you can charge this in a variety of ways. You can charge it through AC power, so like plug it in the wall and juice up the batteries that way. It's a massive battery. It's a 2,400 watt hour battery, so it's substantial. Or you can run it off solar, and you can go a minimum of, I think, 100 watts, and it can go up to, I think, 500 watts. So you need 500 watts of panel if you want to go maximum in terms of how fast it'll charge. I'm not using solar right now. This is like my backup generator that has the capability to go solar if I decide to, or if I decide to use that. Being in a condo, it's not easy to just stick solar on the outside. The association tends to frown upon that, but I'm not well liked here anyway, so maybe I should just do it anyway. Maybe I'll put it in all my windows, right, like on the inside facing out. It'll probably look really great, but I'll get power. I don't really care. So it works great. It's really cool. Excited to have that. That's my exciting story. That doesn't really have to do with crap. It doesn't really have to do with digging holes to hide bodies. It's not as exciting as you guys, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Whenever anyone talks about solar, I always wish that it was better, because the truth about everyone's, especially these days when we're talking about high gas prices, and of course the government just came out, I forget who it was, and said, just buy an electric car. And it's like, oh yeah, everyone's struggling to pay the rent. They're going to go buy a $60,000 electric car. But it's so funny, like the solar and the wind turbines. I hear so many experts talking about that, and they're like, it's not that reliable, and it doesn't even create that much energy. And like, there's no way it can power what we need it to power by like orders of magnitude. Like, maybe it could power 0.5% of what we needed to do. It's like, okay, well then, so we're gonna have wind turbines everywhere and solar panels everywhere, and it's not even gonna cut it, right?
On a cloudy, windless day, we'll all be in the dark anyway.
Right, we're not going anywhere. We're stuck. Which is what they like that too. They plan for climate lockdowns anyway, so that's right up the rally. But there's no nuclear's it. They don't want to talk about it, but it's it. So it's a good time to buy nuclear stocks, because they're going to come to that conclusion sooner or later that they have to go nuclear. They have to. But there's a lot of good options. The new designs are super safe, and you got the mini nuclear reactors. Those are way cool. There's a bunch of startups doing those. They're about the size of a school bus, and you bury them, and they last for like 20 years, and they'll power a mid-sized town by itself. And then when it's spent, you replace it. Super simple, super
That's
safe.
Fantastic.
Yeah, super safe. And, it's just a matter of time before they figure it out. And just imagine putting that in a remote, mountain location or remote place, northern Saskatchewan, whatever, that's hard to get power to. Boom, you just drop one of those in, and they got power, all the power they need.
Right.
So that's the future. They just have
That's
to.
nice. Yeah. Just keep digging those holes in your front yard. We can stuff one of those in there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Keep the apple tree. Let's go with the nuke farm.
Yeah.
I've been watching some stories about this place in Arizona. It's a mountain range called the Superstition Mountains. And apparently in the late 19th century, or in the mid to late 19th century, there was tale that there was a big, huge gold mine there. And some old guy knew where it was. And on his deathbed, he told this woman, and then she looked for it, but she couldn't find it. So she just literally told it to a reporter. They printed it in the newspaper. But anyway, the Superstition Mountains, they even made it's like a History Channel show about this supposed gold mine. But it made me think, it's like, you know what? There probably is a lot of gold out there somewhere, right? Still. Right? I mean, it almost has to be there. So anyway, I was thinking maybe dig in my backyard. Come on.
See what you can find? Yeah, why not?
Maybe a mammoth tusk, that's worth some money. So you never know.
Yeah. Well, plus where we live, Colorado Springs, it's all rock. It's all rocky mountains. So it's like, even if there were even like previous civilizations, you wouldn't find any evidence of that here, because it's over time the mountains are pushing up the crust that was really buried in the earth, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a great topic for next time. That sort of stuff. Old civilizations that are gone, advanced civilizations that have sort of, maybe they were here, maybe they weren't. What's the possibility? That sort of stuff. All
right, write that down. We'll do it. And I just last night I read about Julius Caesar on Wikipedia. And by the way, I don't know how accurate Wikipedia is with history stuff. Well, here's the thing.
Yeah, right. Depends.
With straight up history, I don't know if again, obviously I'm asking that question because Wikipedia is known to be absolute rubbish on a lot of things. But anyway, just to get the general story of Julius Caesar, it was pretty interesting. And it's right around the time of when Jesus was around too. It's very and I always think, like, imagine being around then. Like, think about living at that time, right? What the heck was it like, man?
Oh, well, that could set me off, because I'm reading about quantum physics right now, so that could set me off. Whoa.
Okay, so what do we got? We got quantum physics.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Matt, what did you say? Ancient
civilizations.
Okay.
Well, an interesting one, a topic I think would be cool. You ever check out that channel Vsauce on YouTube?
Oh, I think so. I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a great video by them I watched some years ago. It's called like A Slice of Time, and they put things in like, when Hitler was in power, there were still cowboys and Indians shooting each other with bows and arrows and such in southwest of the United States, while Hitler was doing the Holocaust. This was occurring. So they put these things in the same time frame that when we learn history in school, you learn in chapter 6, then chapter 7. We don't think of it as all congruent. And so they talk about things that are congruent. It's really, you're like, wow, that's really mind-blowing how these things all were occurring at the same time, but they were so vastly different. So that might be a cool topic. I'll find that video and I'll send it to you guys.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Yeah, we tend to think of historical events as linear, and it's like, no, not necessarily. So.
Yeah.
Right. Totally. All right. Well, if you've watched this whole thing, God bless you. Thank you. And if you have any, here's the thing. We're just talking about cool stuff and we're sort of hunting the truth, right? But we also want to hear from you. If you're watching this, like, we don't know everything. So please share in the comments. Like, if you have anything to add on these topics, we'd love to hear it.
Yes, please add dollar bills. That's wonderful.
Well, actually, since we're so new, we can't accept any donations. But, we should eventually, we can get some crypto addresses, like a Bitcoin address or an ETH, and we can add, we can make it available for people to send us Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Anonymously, of course.
Yeah. Well, then we'll use Pirate Chain.
Yes. Pirate Chain. Yep.
Hey, Matt, did I tell you about Pirate Chain?
No, sounds well. I mean, since I grew up getting the black bar treatment, I figured this might connect somehow.
Pirate Chain it's a lesser known cryptocurrency, but it's literally the most private crypto in the world. James, would you say it's the most private, or probably the most private?
Probably. It hasn't gone through a full code audit yet, which I hope it will. But it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome.
Which means that if you when you send and receive it, like no one can tell who's sending what or where it's going. Like no one can tell anything. So it's like literally, it's the equivalent of using like cash on the street.
Yeah.
You can pay cash on the street. No one knows at the end of the day, like cash moved around, but no one really knows where it came from.
Yeah. It actually mixes. What's really cool about it is with every transaction that, you send, receive, it mixes with every transaction ever done. So we're probably around 600,000 transactions now. So your transaction is buried within those 600,000, and every transaction, the number keeps climbing. Obviously, good luck. Have fun with that.
Yeah, and so, but here's one of the coolest parts of Pirate Chain. You know how Bitcoin, the little abbreviation is BTC.
Yeah.
Ethereum, it's ETH. Yeah. Guess what it is for Pirate Chain? ARRR. Yes! Dude, genius. I'm sold. I bought it.
That's pretty great.
I think I like it. I like it, but at the same time, you're making yourself a target. The name like that. Course. So, but we're all targets anyway, so what the hell does it matter?
Yeah. I mean, it's only a matter of time till our show here will just be taken down.
Social credit scores tanking already.
Yep. We're going to get sued.
Oh, you can add ESG to your next our next
yes.
topic.
Yeah.
Wait, what does that stand for again?
Environment, societal, and governance, or something. It's our version of the Chinese.
Social credit system.
It's woke investing too. Call it what you will, but that's where they. I just saw it today where they were going to start talking about the companies have to disclose their greenhouse gas output so they can be part of the ESG woke investing crowd. So,
well, it's kind of cool because it'll narrow the field down of who to actually shop from.
Yes, exactly.
There'll be a small field of those who don't. I buy all from them. Great, thank you.
Yeah, well, that already started during COVID too. It's like, okay, you guys were assholes to me. I'm never shopping at your place again. So, yep.
Yeah, there's so many.
Yep.
All right, well, that's it. I think we're done. That was awesome. Thank you, guys. Just tell us where everybody can find you, Matt.
Strengthenourfitness.locals.com.
Okay, link will be in the description. Strengthenhonorfitness.locals.com. And James?
JamesBreeding.com.
Yeah, it'll be below. Breeding with 2 E's and 1 I.
And it has nothing to do with what we talked about here. So that's
and 1 G.
And 1 G.
Okay. And I'm Chris Curran, and I run Podcast Engineering School. So podcastengineeringschool.com. And also a link to my fractals will be below. Oh, I meant to I thought I could show a fractal like at the end of every episode or something.
That'd be cool. Well, before we go, one thing. I guess not review, the takeaway from this of a couple folks who watched is that you sound like a professional podcaster. You sound like you've been on radio for a long time.
Me?
No, James, not you.
Oh, yeah, James. I was going to say, it's James. He's got the Blue Yeti, the infamous
this guy.
Blue Yeti. Well, hold on. Let me make you full screen. Now, yeah, baby.
Gosh.
Woo!
Oh, look at that. Blue Yeti. And it's blue, too, it's not always blue, by the way. All right. Adios.
Peace.
See you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Later.
Appreciate it.